That is to say, it is not the children born through the course of the natural realm who are God's children. It's an interesting matter that it's only Gentiles who are given the gospel. And such has been the case from the time when Jesus gave the gospel to the Gentiles of Galilee and did not give the gospel to all Israel, to all Judea, to the Edomites, to the people there. As we said, he was sent to the lost sheep of Israel. The lost sheep were the remnant. The lost sheep were those who were chosen but had never heard the gospel. The lost sheep were the elect of Israel. There never was a promise that all Israel would be saved. And when people go to Romans chapter 11, they need to have a good read of it again, because nowhere is it said that all of natural Israel could ever be saved and would be saved. They never were saved. They didn't hear the message of salvation to be saved. We read in Isaiah 8 how God had rejected the family of Jacob. And Josephus tells us after AD 70 there were no more Hebrews. They were gone. So there are only Gentiles left in the world to benefit from the light of the gospel. You can turn to Romans 9, verse 8. Now, I'm reading from Source Translation, Romans 9, verse 8. Paul has said, it's not all the descendants of Abraham's children, but through Isaac your descendants will be invited to hear the gospel. Only through Isaac. That is to say, it is not the children born through the course of the natural realm who are God's children. It has nothing to do with the natural realm or Israel. But the children born through God's promise who are calculated to be Abraham's descendants. Now this is the word. The promise, at the appointed time, I will return and Sarah will have a son. Not only that, but Rebekah's children had one and the same father, our ancestor Isaac. But before the children were born or had done anything good or worthless, it was said to Rebekah, so that the selection which God purposed would be preserved. This was not based on people's actions, but based on God's salvation. The elder will serve the younger. As the scriptures say, Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. So when the light came to Galilee, it was to Gentiles. They had been chosen to receive the light because God had rejected Jacob. So Jesus came to the Gentiles as a light to the Gentiles. And Isaiah says somewhere, God said it's a light thing that you should just be a light to Israel. I have sent you to be a light to the Gentiles. The main concern of God was the seed of Abraham, and they turned out to be mostly the Gentiles. There was a time when the Greeks wanted to see Jesus. They came and he saw them, and the Bible says he rejoiced when he saw the Greeks. Nowhere else is it ever said in the Gospels he rejoiced at seeing any Judeans. He rejoiced when he saw the Greeks. And from his spirit in the Gospels, it says, he said, I thank you, O Father, because of his love of the Gentiles. He went to the Gentiles. He was there with Abraham. He was there in evidence in the Old Testament as the angel of the Lord, the self-revelation of God, and it was his counsel with the Father, as we learn from Proverbs, that decided their course of action in relation to the history of Israel and the history of the Gentiles in relation to the Messiah. He went to the lost sheep of Israel, the elect, those chosen and not cast aside. He was the good shepherd of the remnant. I am the good shepherd. My sheep know my voice. His sheep were only the remnant of Israel. And he very clearly says in John chapter 10, in relation to that portion, that a thief comes in the wrong way. They had plenty of thieves, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the wolves. They're still around today, not racially, but religiously, put it that way, even if it is a pagan religion. The multitude of Gentiles has a number. It's settled in Romans 11. When all the numbers of the Gentiles have come in, they're going to come in, the Gentiles. Can't you thank God you're a Gentile, that the light of the gospel has come to you and me? God loved the Gentiles because of the book of Genesis, where the seed of Eve, the Messiah, would trample on the head of Satan, who had come and seduced Eve. But who can understand the purposes of God? Who can track what he's doing? We just have to rejoice that we know something of what he was doing, that we know something about the truth of the gospel. We have to rejoice that the chosen of God are not of Israel of the flesh. The chosen of God are of Israel of the Spirit. He was the good shepherd of the remnant. I am the good shepherd. My sheep know my voice. His sheep were only the remnant of Israel.